So my dinosaur stick, I'll show it to you guys just in case you're wondering. It is, I have 2 sparks. It's maxed out. I need to get the 3rd spark. And we're doing Lunar Magic, and the Dragon Soul. And then I have 1 Inevitable Grave Intelligence in there just to boost the intelligence. And then what I have slotted into this, pretty much I build all the caster sticks like the same way. That's like spell power. This Shadow Fang, that's the one that does like the dot that is untyped damage. And I experimented with the other one that does like the upfront untyped damage. And what I found is that Shadow Fang does more damage over time. So if you want your DPS to go up, the only issue with it is it applies a hot of untyped like Bane damage. I said that wrong. It's a dot of Bane damage. And if you're in a situation where you need to, like doing a raid, for example, and somebody tells you to stop DPSing, this thing rolls off for another minute. So you wouldn't want to do that if you were in a raid group and you had to be able to control your DPS. But if you're just running around soloing, doing past lives, it shouldn't matter. Like if you're in a situation where you don't care if you dot something up. It is a pretty strong dot. Even though they nerfed it, it used to be like super ridiculous, but now it's okay. And then the next one I do is this +2 exceptional bonus to intelligence. And then probably what I think is one of the strongest is the Ice Horn. Ice Horn will, any attack or offensive spell will freeze the target in a block of ice. Procs all the time. Super cool. Really great. So you guys, I'm on new hardware, so please let me know if anything sounds wrong, or if anything looks wrong, or if you notice that I'm dropping frames, or if you can't hear something. Even if you're just lurking, it would really help me out because I can't really see. I did test it, but I mean, I think it looks good, but I might have missed something. But the stream itself should look better. Like there's a lot more data going through the pipes. We basically tripled the amount of data I'm sending to Twitch, so it should look a lot better. All right, so that's the gear. The gear is okay, right? We've got our Crown of Snow. I'm wearing a dinosaur artifact. I'll show you the artifact just because, in case you're curious. I have it slotted up with 4 autos. Auto's great. Will give us spell points and DCs. And then I have this slotted, so +15 intelligence. I have acid crit. So I'm doing acid because my old build is very similar to the build that I play on Mary, my main, where basically I'm all in on Primal Avatar. However, what I want to do, because I've tested it on Mary, but I really haven't tested it on any of the other casters. So this used to work really well, but now Carrion Swarm sucks, right? Like, I mean, it works if you have your DCs at like 110 or higher. My DC is 85, meaning nobody is probably going to take my Carrion Swarm damage, which is super annoying because it means that likely I need to find another We have all of our 22 points over here. We have a few over here. I should probably move the points over to get more hit points, but I mean, I don't really. This tune really just does a lot of soloing and stuff. So it's a really good at keeping itself alive unless it takes like way more than that amount of damage. I would love to get more hit points, but this tune has no past lives. I've got one past life. So this is basically another like first life tune. Although this, we have like tomes on this character. This character's old basically, but I only really TR on one character. So the past life feat I have on it, she used to be a ranger basically. But you can see I have tomes, and we're all in basically on like doing Finger of Death basically, or Wail of the Banshee, or Circle of Death. Now, when I originally was doing this build was years ago, like with the insta kills, and the meta's sort of changed. My DCs really aren't. I mean, they're right around 100. It's a little low. So even though I'm like necro focused, I also took an enchantment specialty so I can do my hold monster. That's also a little bit low, but you know, like I said, I usually only solo. So this character was pretty decent for doing like solo stuff. So we'll go into the same test that we've been doing on all of the other characters, because we want to take a look at like the initial build that I have, the damage, how survivable I am, and then what we can do in the other destinies. I want to take a look at all the different epic strikes, because likely I need to replace Carrion Swarm, because I doubt it's going to work with an 85. I could, you know, try to focus on getting my DC higher, but I'm not sure that that is, at least on this character. Like if I was on my main and said, okay, now I'm going to do a Necro Wizard, yeah, I could get my DCs a lot higher, but for this particular character, we're basically just going to play it as I normally, you know, normally play it.
At the end of the passage ahead, you can see a fortress floating in the silvery mists of the astral.
All right, I'm going to alter this sound a little bit, because like I said, the new setup, things are a little bit different. So I want to make sure that you guys can hear it, but I don't want it to be too loud. And I turned the sentient weapon off because it's just super annoying. Alright, so that little Heart Guardian will take his shield down, and then I can just basically see. So that was a proc of the Ice Horn. That's why I like that so much. That's what locked him in ice. Just super strong. I don't think I'm seeing any hits from Carrion Swarm. Oh, he actually just took a little bit of poison damage. We just killed him with an Arcane Storm, though. So that's what I need to do. I need to move this off my bar. I basically want to see how the damage looks on that acid well. See if we can get this.
The lever activates, and one of the signal crystals by
So I'm hoping the feed is a lot smoother Like, I'm hoping my frame rate looks a lot better. I'm hoping the graphics, like, I have the graphics literally turned up to like the maximum that you can do in DDO. And we're doing a 1080, 1920 1080, and we're doing 60 frames a second, ultra high. So hopefully you guys can see it like that. Alright, so that was my carrion swarm. It's doing poison damage to him. It's actually hitting him. So, I mean, maybe it's not completely borked. I'm going to do an acid well on that dude. I'm not sure that these guys are taking acid damage. It doesn't look like they are, so I think it would be a waste to do it on him. I want to see if I can color spray him, because this tune uses color spray. Right, he was not affected by the color spray. I'm going to try it again. Didn't even blind him, so that Slod psionic thrall thing may make him immune to it. Like, that's a specific champ for this quest. So
A wave of energy washes from the small tower as the barrier blocking the entrance is disrupted.
again, if anything in the game sounds too quiet or too loud, just please let me know. Oh, that was one of the things prior to their fixing the tumble. When this character tumbles, I gain Cloak of Night, which makes me invisible, displaced, and negates the extra light damage I take. And it also, I get 15% missile deflection, because I'll show you the build in case you're wondering. This is the build that I come up with. I am Capstone in Pale Master, but I didn't go top tier. I went top tier over here, and if you guys didn't know that you can do that, you can do that. You don't have to top tier the same that you Capstone. So this Capstone is stronger for me than this one, which is why I decided to use this. Just gives me +4 intelligence, +2 spell pen, and it gives me this enhanced death aura. The top tier here really only matters if I were using this Necrotic Blast, which Necrotic Blast is fine. If you're using that, it's great, you know, but I was focusing more on like doing my Epic Strike and then just fingering and doing my Necro stuff, right? Holding and color spraying. So I wasn't really throwing out the Necro Blast a lot. This is just basically a raise dead. You turn your buddy into a zombie. This is just +1 Necro DC, which is stupidly low. Like, I can get that. That's such a waste for a top tier. This is makes you invisible, blah blah blah. Again, useless junk that I don't need. This would be nice to get my Ascendant Lich Shroud, which would give me 15 more MRR, 10 more negative spell power, 10 more cold and electric resist, and it would also give me a 5% reduction on my spell costs. However, none of that stuff is going to make or break any build, right? Like, it's nice stuff, but it's not like, oh my god, I need to have that. Whereas having this Ring of Shadow Blades, having this extra illusion DC and force spell power, also improved augment summoning, and then having this permanent displacement, that's way stronger, right? So that's why I did what I did. It's just a lot of really strong stuff in here. Like, that refraction is really strong. This Be My Eyes is really strong. There's more spell pen, intelligence, and of course all of these, I use these on just about every build that I can, because they're just all so good. This, You've Got My Back, Reality Bulwark, and then Ben Light, also really good. And then we get free enlarge, basically, right, doing this. So tier 5. Now, you could make an argument that Eldritch Knight would give us a lot more survivability, and you would be absolutely right. We would get a lot more survivable if we were in Eldritch Knight. However, what I'm banking on is that I can CC stuff, I can hit things really far away, and I also have permanent displacement. And we know from playing the Dragon Lord that permanent displacement, look, even though I only have 1400 hit points, my effective hit points are almost, you know, 8,500. That's because I'm permanently displaced. So really good if you're doing content that is R4 or below, because every Reaper level you lose 5% displacement. So in this R1, my effective displacement is 45%. That's still really good.
The barrier collapses in upon itself, revealing the passage beyond.
All right, so let's get this. We're gonna actually try to see. So in Primal Avatar, we've got a couple of things that boost our hires, right? One of them is this natural shielding, which basically boosts the skeleton, so we actually can see it on him. So we get this stuff from our necromancer tree. Then we've got this natural shielding. The thing gets evasion. It's got our mantle because we're using this shared mantle. So that means any attack it does is going to do the same as my mantle does, which is fire, light, alignment. If the thing actually threw out a heal, it would also throw out a heal. But it doesn't. It just basically attacks. But that's good because it's going to get my mantle damage. And that is huge when you're doing a minion build. If you've ever thought about doing a minion build in DDO, you kind of want to have this shared mantle because there, I think, and we'll take a look at this. I think you can do this in Magus of the Eclipse. I think Magus also shares your mantle. But the problem with Magus is that you're stuck doing negative or cold. And a lot of mobs in DDO don't take negative or cold. A lot of mobs don't take fire, but this also does alignment damage, which is evil damage, and light damage. So, you know, like this, my skeleton's going to do a lot of damage. Then this is all the epic boost, and then it's got death block. All of this stuff obviously is still applied to my little heart ally, which is, I'll be throwing her out as well. So we're just going to buff up because this fight is awful. Likely this thing's going to kill me, but I'm going to give my skeleton blur. Okay. And we're going to try and see if our epic strike actually hits.
The innocuous chest lets out an unexpected.
All right, I'm going to try to, you know, like, see if I can get rid of some of these things immediately. See if they take acid damage. The acid damage from that acid well didn't look as big as it used to. That spell used to hit really hard. And now it just did a few thousand. Alright, and so my skeleton, as long as I keep my healing aura up next to it, it should basically be okay. And I'm going to get my little heart ally out. She will help with the damage. See how my cold damage looks on it? Okay. That polar ray did like 2200, and then let's see if I can hit this thing with some necrotic. Alright, so that hit a lot harder. My necrotic ray hit it for like almost 5,000. So it looks like necrotic ray is still overtuned. My carrion swarm, I'm not seeing any procs on the damage at all. Like, I've got it on it, but it's just making the saving throw, so it's not... And this is, like, one of the reasons that I wanted to test this, right? It's taking, like, no damage. So anything... This is a CR 46, so anything that's, like, not trash... You can see my DC is 89. Like, in order for me to really reliably be able to use Carrion Swarm, I would have to have, like, my DC's way over 100. My skeleton's gonna die. Yeah, that's too bad. That's the Shard Storm. So watch, the Shard Storm hits. It still hits like it used to. So Shard Storm is still really worth using. Like the 3,000 numbers that you're seeing, that's the Shard Storm. But the actual spell, Carrion Swarm, is garbage now. They just completely ruined it. That was an Acid Well. It hit him for like 5,000. So this is why I wanted to test, because like on my main, I'm still using Carrion Swarm, but my main's DCs are over 100. So I mean, I'm not really struggling to do damage with it, but... And you can see the poison and acid damage that it's taking now, that's from my Shard Storm. And the Shard Storm basically gives me temporary hit points, but it also shoots little missiles at it. So we need to find another... We still want to use Shard Storm, right? Because Shard Storm is awesome, but we need to find a new Epic Strike because Carrion Swarm is garbage now. Like, unless your DCs... I just want to make sure that I'm saying that correctly. It's only garbage if your DCs are, like, way under 100, 110. I mean, ideally, like, you know, if you were min-maxed, you could probably get your DC for a spell to, like, 140-ish, somewhere around there. I think somebody, maybe somebody watching knows what, like, the top-tier Spellcaster DCs are, but it's at least 100 or higher, right? And so my gear isn't garbage. My gear is okay, but I'm only at 89. And a large part of the reason that is because I'm only a first life, you know, I have one past life. So if you're a new player or like low on past lives, you really wouldn't be able to use Carrion Swarm reliably. Not with the way they changed it. It made it so that if they save, they take no damage. You know, they basically are dropped off. We're still doing damage from this Shard Storm because that has no save. Basically, as long as you activate it, they're going to take that damage. So we can see here it is, and it's started already, which is taking a lot of acid damage, a lot of poison damage. That's the Shard Storm. That used to be the same thing for Carrion Swarm, but now it's not. So without me saying the same thing over and over again, the point is we need to basically find a new Epic Strike. Otherwise, you can see too, my intelligence is not like super high. I mean, I'm not even at 90. So I would want to, if I were really going to start playing like a wizard character, I'd want to try to get that to 100 as well or higher. Gonna need to add my heals back. As close to 100 as you can get for your main stat, right? So I'm sure people have way over that, but I think on Mary, on my Warlock, she's my main. I think I have 90 Charisma, which works for me. I'm happy with it. Everything's fine. Yeah, it looks like they knocked the damage from Acid Well in half. It used to do like 10 to 20,000 every cast. Now it's doing between 5 and 10,000. Which is unfortunate because I used to love using that spell. I probably would still use it, but it's just hitting a lot less. One spell I want to look at and see is this negative energy burst, because that used to hit like a truck too. So that did not hit him that hard. So we're going to hit him with our Necrotic Ray. Necrotic Ray still hits really, really good. So if you're looking for a spell to use on a wizard, I think Necrotic Ray is a really solid choice. Polar Ray does about half that, I think. Here's our Polar Ray. Yeah, about 2,300. We're gonna try hitting him with that Rend the Soul. So it's okay. I mean, that one didn't hit him for much at all. Like that. Yeah, Necrotic Ray does more damage now. It looks like. And keep in mind, too, like, I'm acid boosted. Hey, Glassjaw, how you doing? I'm acid boosted, and so I should be doing a lot more. So, I mean, I just cannot get... There was one tick of Carrion Swarm. Yeah, I mean, it's not a lot. You know, I'm not really doing a lot of necro damage on this particular build, but I was focusing on acid, but I need to switch because while like so I was my dragon, this thing here was made to do extra acid damage because, you know, Carrion Swarm used to be busted, but now it's garbage. Like, I cannot get it to hit at all. Like, the only thing that's on this mob right now is my Carrion Swarm, and you can see it makes the saves and takes no damage. And it's a lot of the problem with the Carrion Swarm is my DC is 89, which is too low. So that's what I've been saying. Like, you really need to focus on getting it, like, 100 or higher. So on my main, my DC is over 100 and I use it and it's okay. But if we look, I just did my Shard Storm. Shard Storm is still hitting like it used to. Like all that acid and that's all Shard Storm that just killed. So basically what I need to do, because this is a first life tune, basically I have one past life, right? So I have one heroic past life, which was a ranger. Doesn't really help me out at all. So, I mean, like, the only thing that this character has is, like, a +8, you know, +8 tomes, basically, that make it. So I need to find something that's going to work for this character. Not so much my main, because my main has 1 billion past lives, right? But I need to find something that's going to work for this character here. And even with Evergreen, we still went through a ton of mana. But, I mean, we were able to kill that on R1 without dying. So, I mean, it wasn't terrible. Right? Like, we're still, you know, we're doing okay. But we'll see how we do against these slots. And then we'll leave and we'll try to find a better epic strike. Oh, I just didn't mean to fall. I think the slots are, yeah, they're resistant to acid damage anyway. And they have really high spell resist. So they're resisting my... That probably would benefit going into Magus just to try to get some spell pen. You know, we can still dance them, that's good. Yeah, I mean, they're making all the saves versus my Carrion Swarm. They're not taking any damage from it at all. It's too bad. It's too bad that they killed that spell. I used to really like using that. Even my, my Necro DC, which is 100, I'm having a hard time, you know, actually, like, killing anything. So it looks like they made it so that you really got to focus on your DCs. This is an extreme challenge, so if you're in like older content, it still might if you're on a first life tune, but there's 100 DC finger and it wasn't enough. We did our spell pen check, but the spell is just not strong enough with that. Yeah. So that's good to know too, right? Like, I don't think that that's like the goal. I mean, obviously it's probably has been beyond 100, but most people tell, you know, new players or like people who are new, just try to get your DC to 100. That's a good place to start. It doesn't look like that's enough anymore. See if we can color spray this dude. Yes. All right. So the color spray work. Can I hold him? Yes. All right. So that worked. The CC works. And you can see the damage he's taking. That is from the Shadow Fang. That's the curse that I put on him, the Curse of Agony. And that's what I was telling you. If you're doing any sort of like situation where you cannot, where you need to control your DPS, I would not use that because this curse lasts for at least a minute and it will just keep rolling damage. Yeah, the slots have really good saves. Yeah. Yeah. This is a very it's an extreme challenge. Why I came in here, because I wanted just to see, you know, if we instantly died, then I would know. You know, I doubt a brand new player would walk in here and do the entire quest. But I mean, you never know. The whole point is with the right build, right? You should be able to do any of the content. All right, so I have to set up a dancing ball to get a little crowd control on these. Otherwise, they're just gonna face stomp me. Yeah, I mean, so this is just more testing of like Carry and Swarm. I just cannot get it to hit. Not with that DC. Shard Storm is still S tier, in my opinion. Like, I would still use Shard Storm. You get temporary hit points. It still does a boatload of acid and poison damage. There's no save versus it. They just take the damage. But Finger of Death DC needs to be, at least for... Oh, I finally got one. I was able to actually finger one. Yeah, we got that one with the Death Field. So... Still, I mean, we're gonna run out of mana, but... Yeah, the Slod Fortitude saves are... Right, can you think of a mob that has a higher save that I could actually try my finger against? I was trying to think about that. I think that these are one of the highest, right? At least without going into a raid. We're gonna do our... Dude, that hits really hard. For whatever level spell that is, 6th level spell. Necrotic Blast. Oh, Necrotic Ray, pardon me. Yeah, it just hits really hard. Yeah, that one's 3,300. As opposed to the... They have reduced cold damage. That one took 4,200. I mean, my hold still works. See if I can make the Reaper take... I've got 2 stacks of my Carrion Swarm on it. You can see it's taking a little bit of damage. Got 3 stacks of Carrion Swarm on it. It's immune to the poison, but it's taking about 1,500. So, I mean, I guess it's okay. My DC is 89, right? Versus the Reaper. Which, I mean, it's only an R1 Reaper, but... Oh, Necrotic Ray. Yeah, it's...
This seems like a safe place.
Yeah, if you do, is it the Death domain? You get Necrotic Ray as an SLA. Yeah, it's like a truck. Yeah. So what I was saying is, I'm on some new gear, so let me know if the stream doesn't look right or sound okay. Like, I'm hoping everything looks good and sounds okay. But if something's not loud enough, or it's too loud, or if, like, you notice I'm dropping frames or anything, it should look a lot better because I effectively tripled the bandwidth to Twitch. So, like, it really should be, like, 1080, 60 frames a second now. Like, there should be nothing dropped. And then I upped the graphics on the actual game itself, so it's all maxed out. So, not that that matters, but if you notice anything strange. So I want to keep that, but just not use that. Which means that I probably could redo this and then use this as my strike. I also could, like, redo myself. Because technically, like... So one of the reasons I like using Unyielding Sentinel is because this gives me knockdown immunity. And I don't want to be knocked down, right? I'm wearing a shield. So now I'm immune to knockdown with the shield. Even though, you know, technically, if you're not getting aggro, you don't really have to worry about that. But, no, I'm going to, though. So I'm just trying to think, like, out loud. I get my Necro DC boost here. I get my enchantment boost here. That's really only 2 I care about. Obviously, if I could get a third. But like I said, this tune is just first life tune, so I only have 65 points. I really like having this Heart Ally. I really like having the Shared Mantle. So I kind of want to keep this, like, primarily. But I know that there's probably other stuff that I could try that will be good. So I already know that the Holy Strike from this is good. Like, the Sun Pillar is a decent epic strike. It's a single target, but it usually hits for, like, you know, 3 to 10,000 depending. I mean, I don't have any light boosts, but it's still decent. And then if you have enough points and you can grab that Holy Command, it becomes even better. I won't have the points to grab that, not unless I, like, switched into this tree full time. But like I said, I like having this little Heart Ally with me. This also is, we're getting evasion from this tree, like we're getting evergreen. There's just a lot of stuff. We're boosting our hirelings here. We're getting more intelligence. We're getting cocoon. Like it just gives us a lot of really good stuff on a wizard. Like evergreen alone is probably one reason that I love being in this tree. However, that being said, they did redo a bunch of stuff. So technically, I could drop the Exalted Angel and go into Magus and try that. I know that they have that moon pool. That's really good.